has registered our names as participants. So let's go to the opening prayer. I implore any one of us in this gathering to please lead us in the opening prayers. Thank you.
Shall we pray? Our Father, we thank you for the privilege we have this morning to gather together and discuss together with our resident electoral commissioner. Father, we pray as we go into the program proper, may your spirit guide, lead, and direct in Jesus' name. We pray that the purpose of this gathering, may it be fulfilled ultimately in the name of Jesus. Thank you, Father. In Jesus' name we pray.
Thank you very much for the brief prayer. I now implore all of us to please be on our feet as we take the national anthem of our dear country. Please let us rise. Thank you very much. Please, let us have our seats. We move to the next item on the agenda of the day, which is the introduction of participants. We start from the upper place, so to speak. And right there to my, is this my right or my left now? Which one? So we have on the high table, starting with the General Coordinator of JDPMC, Reverend Father Peter Akinkumi. After him, and after the person beside him, I am coming towards this side now. We have the Honorable Resident Electoral Commissioner of INEC in Osun State, in the person of Professor Abdulgani Olayinka Raji. You are most welcome, sir. That is just a brief introduction. As the event unfolds, we will know that he is more than who we are seeing before us this morning. And then, next to him, I still don't have the list yet, but as time goes on, I will call your names. So let's go the other way. I have beside the General Coordinator, the Program Manager of Democracy and Good Governance Department of Justice, Development and Peacemaker Center, Osogbo, in the person of Mr. Festus Ojewumi. We have also the representative of the National Council of Women's Society, and the president is here, in the person of Alhaja Mulikat Adekunle. Next to him, to her, sorry, is the chairman of the Joint National Association of Persons with Disability, Mr. Onitiju. You are most welcome. Also, we have the president of the network of NGOs in Osun State, Comrade Michael Ebofin. You are most welcome. Beside him is the Executive Director of Save Our Land, in the person of Mr. Banji Oladipo. Also, we have in our midst the Executive Director of Kimpact Development Initiative, Mr. Bukola Idowu. You are welcome. Also here we have the Executive Director of Seed Africa, Mr. Semiu Adabanija. Also among us is the coordinator of the Good Governance Committee of Orolu Local Government, in the person of Pastor J.O. Orekunle. Also, we have the station manager of Rave FM, Mr. Femi Olanipekun. You are welcome. Okay. I want to welcome in a special way and acknowledge the presence of all the HODs of departments here. We have Mrs. Morenike Onolapo, the Program Manager of Rural Development of JDPMC. Also, we have Mrs. Juliet Akonde, the Program Manager of IHD, Integrated Human Development. Barrister Veronica Onoja, she is the Program Manager of the Justice and Human Rights Department. We have the Chief Accountant of the organization among us, in the person of Mr. Patrick Oshunkolati. That is the money bag. Also, the admin officer of the organization is with us, Mr. John Olayode. And we acknowledge the presence of the media team of JDPMC, in the persons of Mr. Yemi Alabi and Mrs. Jegede. You are welcome. Also, I recognize the presence of the pressmen amongst us, the representatives of TVC. You are welcome. The representatives of Catolink, we acknowledge your presence. Also, the man in charge of the live streaming, Engineer Temitayo Fagboru, you are most welcome. The members of the entourage of the Honorable Resident Electoral Commissioner, we have Mrs. Agbola Folake, the Administrative Secretary, INEC, Osun State. You are welcome. Then we have Mrs. Olushayo Adedokun, who is the PRO. You are most welcome. Do I need to introduce myself? The program says introduction of participants, not of the MC. So I am Richard Akinyosotu, the program officer of Democracy and Good Governance Department of the Justice, Development and Peacemaker Center, Osogbo. Also, we recognize our online participants who are joining us already. We have Mr. Wilson Manji. We recognize you. Also, we have Amina Yahaya also joining us. We welcome them. And Joshua Akin Tunde, I want to believe, Fatoki, also joining us via the online space. We want to welcome him too. We proceed to the welcome address, which is going to be given by the General Coordinator of JDPMC, Reverend Father Peter Akinkumi. Please welcome him.
The Honorable Resident Electoral Commissioner of INEC Osun State, all principal officers of INEC, the Executive Secretary, other members of the entourage of the Honorable Commissioner, our colleagues in the civil society organization, ladies and gentlemen of the media, all of us physically and virtually present for this meeting. Say good morning to you all. So on behalf of the legal holder of this organization, the Most Reverend John Akin Oyejola, who is also the Bishop of the Catholic Diocese of Osogbo, it is my very, very great pleasure to welcome all of you to this venue of our gathering to have a stake forum engagement with the Honorable Resident Electoral Commissioner at the instance of civil society organizations. We are here today because electoral process in Osun State in the past few years have been very, very wonderful as a result of the collaboration of INEC with the civil society organizations and the media as well. It has been a very, very beautiful experience. It has been one which has enabled us to progress meaningfully in our democracy in Osun State. You all recall or you all agree with me that the immediate past Resident Electoral Commissioner did a lot to engage the civil society and the media in the electoral process in Osun State, and this has resulted in very, very wonderful results that we have achieved working together. And obviously, with the arrival of Professor Ganiu, we have seen nothing but exactly the same spirit. So for us, so within the brief time he has arrived among us here in Osun State, we have seen the level of his openness to engage with the entire society as far as election administration is concerned, and particularly the kind of interest he has shown in working with civil society organizations. And I want to specially thank him because immediately this was suggested to him, he did not think twice about it, clearly indicating that it is something that is of great interest and passion to him also. So, Honorable Resident Electoral Commissioner, we are really pleased with this. We consider this a very beautiful way to start, and we are very much excited to continue our journey of collaboration with you to ensure that democracy continues to grow in our land. Dear comrades in the civil society organization and in the media, the very reason why we have called or we had proposed this particular encounter for today is simply because we all know we are preparing for a gubernatorial election, and a lot of developments in recent time have required that it is very, very important for us to start together early, to begin to collaborate, to begin to exchange information and idea for us to have a better understanding of the space within which our election is going to take place so that we all will be able to participate meaningfully. You'll all agree with me that lots of developments around our democracy and in the conduct of election, particularly the adoption of technology, demands that we really need to have conversation. We need to have constant conversation with one another to understand the new developments, the issues arising from such developments in order to enable us to prepare accordingly. Just as INEC has been improving on the use of technology and this has had consequence in the process of election, so also the media, so also the civil society organizations are improving in the adoption of technology in their participation in the electoral process. All of these have warranted that there is a need for us to continue to have exchanges that will help us understand the space where we are going to operate ahead of the coming election. Also, you agree with me that the consequences due to the COVID-19 pandemic is also an issue that requires us to have early preparation, early understanding of the space where we are preparing to launch come the governorship election. Essentially, these are some of the very, very important reasons, coupled with security problems and other challenges that are changing the space where we live, where we exist, and try to cultivate our lives. These essentially are the very reasons why we feel it is good for us to start early, and it is good for us to engage with one another as much as possible, so that we'll all be well prepared and we'll all be well disposed to carry out that which we all plan to do in order to consolidate democracy in Osun State. So once again, I welcome every one of you here, and I wish all of us a very, very wonderful deliberation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, the General Coordinator, for the wonderful welcome address. We go straight to the next item, which is going to give us a background review of JDPMC and election in Nigeria. And it's going to be presented by the Program Manager, Democracy and Good Governance Department, Mr. Festus Ojewumi. Let's have you, please.
Thank you very much. I want to welcome us again, standing on the existing protocol. We just want to go straight to the point by considering the general review as election is concerned in Nigeria and how we've been playing our part in the process. I don't know, is the slide ready? All right. Just a minute, please. All right, as a form of introduction in Nigerian electoral system, the essence of democracy talks about equality. Elections give opportunity to adults to actually lend their voice to be represented. This makes the country to be truly democratic, and that is why election is very, very important. People participate in the governance of their country by choosing their own representative through elections. Over the years, JDPMC has actually been working on issues surrounding advocacy, talking about voter education, campaign finance tracking, strengthening electoral systems, among others. Well, starting from the top, we have actually worked extensively on areas in line with that. This was our situation room in Osun State, in Akure, the state capital, during Ondo Gubernatorial Election. Like the general coordinator rightly said about the relationship with INEC, it actually been cordial. We can see the former rec and the general coordinator, the former rec for Osun Next, during one of our findings. We carry a survey on vote buying and selling next for Ondo. Permit to take us through the memory lane, Osun 2018, as we actually laid the foundation for Osun 2022. Next. Like, we are familiar with these are some of the things that actually happened in 2018, and which we all believe that in any moment from now we have this. Campaigns, tracking of campaign materials and all the likes next. So, coming down home now, we talk about Osun State 2018. A lot of things actually happened in Osun State 2018. Well, we may not be able to discuss extensively because of our time next. Talking about voter education through training the trainers next. Voter education in Nigeria next. Next. Now, still in Osun State, what we have come to do is to look at some critical issues here, to discuss how have we been. I remember the last time we paid advocacy visit to INEC, they talked about people's not collecting their PVC. These are some of the things we talk about. Okay, how can we ensure that, okay, people's mindset change? These are just the statistics for Osun State in 2018. the number of people that actually collected the PVC, the numbers that they didn't collect, and things like that. So these are some of the things we've come here to discuss. Okay, what are the challenges? What are the developments? What are the issues? And what are the prospects towards having 2022 Osun Gubernatorial Election? Next. Now, everybody will agree that nothing is perfect. There is no system that is actually perfect. We are all working towards perfection. So we talk about, in the process of us working on election, there are some issues, there are some identified issues, the conduct of the election generally from the government, the governed, and the election hamper, and things like that. Next. These are the identified issues, talking about low voters turnout, votes buying, excessive use of money during election, violence, low voters, education, logistic issues, among others. They are numerous. We've come here to discuss and to deliberate, hear from the stakeholders gathered here to discuss on ways in which lasting solutions can actually be provided to some of these challenges. Next. So I talk about the peculiarity of Osun State. The Osun State election is actually very peculiar. I remember in 2018 when the INEC chairman was talking about how Osun State actually made history by having the highest number of contestants in 2018 elections, 48 political parties. It has actually not happened in Nigeria before. It shows that our election is actually peculiar. How can we explore the peculiarity and get things done? We also talk about the highest number of registered voters in the ongoing CRV. We talk about Osun State being the litmus election, so to say, that elections that actually precedes the general election, considering of 2023, 2023 is in the here now, talking about how things will move. Our state is definitely part of this that will be used for the litmus. Next. All right, as we start, as the road to 2022 starts, 16th, what are the things that we need to discuss about? Next. Calm down. Next. So we already have the calendar. What are the things to talk about? So our gathering here this morning is actually to initiate discussions as regards 2022 Osun Gubernatorial elections. What should be the responsibility of different stakeholders towards the success of the election? As a matter of fact, INEC cannot do it alone. We all have one or two responsibilities. So we have called this gathering to actually discuss what, for Osun elections to be successful, what should be my role, what should be your role. That's what. What are the recent developments in Nigerian electoral system that may affect?
For the University of Ibadan. He was responsible for the introduction of new computer-based courses and other new courses into the curriculum of agricultural engineering in the Department of Agricultural and Environmental Engineering, University of Ibadan. The Honorable Rec, he is also a member of the Senate at the University of Ibadan from year 2004 till date. Being a brilliant man that he is also a member of some learned societies, among which is the Nigerian Institution of Agricultural Engineers in 1994. He became a corporate member of the Nigerian Society of Engineers in 1999. And also, he is a registered engineer and then member of the Council for the Regulation of Engineering in Nigeria, COREN. He's also a corporate member of the American Society of Agricultural and Biological Engineers. The REC, he has also attended several international conferences and has over 200 publications to his credit. Of course, a man with this caliber will have some academic and administrative responsibilities. These include the Honorable Resident Electoral Commissioner, being a member of the Committee of Provosts deans and directors of the University of Ibadan. He is also a chairman of University of Ibadan Information and Communication Technology Committee between July 2009 and March 2013. He is a member of Faculty Board of Technology, a member of Information Technology and Media Services Committee of the University of Ibadan from the year 2013 till this day. He was awarded Graduate Engineer of the Year in 1994 by Nigerian Society of Engineers, and he won the Sahara Engineer Best Paper in Mechanical Engineering. National appointment. In 2017, he was given a national appointment by the current President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Muhammadu Buhari. And after being confirmed by the Senate and being sworn in, he was deployed to INEC Ekiti State, where he conducted the 2018 stand-alone governorship election that was free, fair, credible, and generally acceptable. To ensure transparency of this election, he pioneered vehicular tracking of official vehicles used for transporting election-sensitive materials, which the Commission imbibed and incorporated into the electoral process in Nigeria. Not only that, in 2019, he was redeployed to INEC Osun State and successfully supervised the 2019 general elections in the state. On Friday, the 3rd of September 2021, he was redeployed to Osun State and resumed for duty on Monday, 13th day of September 2021. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the Honorable Resident Electoral Commissioner of INEC in Osun State, Professor Abdulgani Olayinka Raji. I'm sure we can do better. It is not easy. Thank you very much for the resounding applause. Now we go to the discussion proper. The 2022 Osun Gubernatorial Election, developments, issues, and prospects. And this will be anchored by the Honorable Resident Electoral Commissioner. You have the floor, sir.
Thank you very much. Do you want? Okay. Thank you very much. The coordinator of JDPMC, other members of the management of the JDPMC, other members of the CSOs present, the Administrative Secretary of INEC, other heads of department of INEC present here. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Well, I would have loved to project, but I think let me just, so if it's necessary, I would show you some things. Well, I'm highly delighted to be here today to present to you the developments on the 2022 Osun Gubernatorial Election. Basically, what I'm going to tell us today will just be on our levels of preparation and our commitment to that election, which I'm going to mention to you, with the hope that we will also get the same cooperation from the entire people of Osun State, the state of Omoluabi. So like I said when I came, I felt very happy that I'm coming to the state of Omoluabi, because whoever knows what Omoluabi is in Yoruba will know that you will actually want to have dealings with them. And definitely, we are beginning to see the Omoluabis in Osun. You understand what I mean by that. And we will definitely... Oh, okay. So, like I was saying, today I'm going to take us through our preparations, and the outline of my discussion would include a review and preview of our elections, the 2019 and the 2023 elections, in between which we are having the 2022 gubernatorial elections in Osun State. Expansion of voters' access to polling units, which we call creation of new polling units. I will talk on the continuous voter registration, and then I will talk of the technologies that we are going to use during the election, which is going to include, Osun State. Actually, we are not starting here. We have started using the technology. I will talk briefly on vote buying and vote selling, which everybody is always interested in knowing about, and what INEC is doing. And I will talk on the new polling units. We want to populate the new polling unit, and will give us the experiences that we have had in other places. And that will lead me to issues on transfers, lost, damaged cards, and all the other issues, and collection of the PVC. Of course, the existing one and the new ones that we are going to print, such that people will have ability to exercise their franchise. And then any other issue that may come up. That's the outline for the election. Well, starting with the review and the preview of elections, the 2019. Immediately we finished the 2019 elections. The Independent National Electoral Commission started a review of that 2019 elections. We started right from the local governments, gathered all the stakeholders and our staff to tell us what their observations were, and what we would need to do in the subsequent elections. That we moved to the states, we did the same, and then we had a very robust retreat and workshop at Lagos, being a national review meeting, where members of the political class were present, including members of the National Assembly. And we had very good conclusions, which we are already seeing the effect. Because ordinarily, election budget, funds are released just like 2 weeks or 1 month to the election. But now it was at that review meeting where we agreed with the members of the National Assembly that funds for the 2023 election will be released right from 2021. The first tranche has been received. The second tranche will be received very soon. And so because of that, these 2022 gubernatorial election in Osun State, as at now, we have received all the non-sensitive materials that we need for the election. Almost 5 months to the election. Because we have fund to execute that. And so, we already gotten that. But our practice is that the sensitive materials, which are the ballot papers and the result sheet and whatever, we don't take delivery of them until 2 days to the election. So no matter what we do, if you say, are we ready? If I say we are 100% ready, yes, we have not received the sensitive materials because we will get those ones 2 days to the election. But every other thing that it takes to conduct election, if we want to conduct election tomorrow, we are ready, with the exception of the sensitive materials, which are the ballot papers. So everything is ready with us. And that was as a result of the review of the 2023 elections and the review of the 2019 election, which we did with all the stakeholders. So we came up with a report, and we are happy that that is now being implemented. Coming out from that, we realized that the last time polling units were created was in 1996. 1996. By then, INEC had not been created. I think what we had then was NEC, National Electoral Commission. So INEC came into existence 2 years after. So since the creation of INEC, we have not been able to create any polling unit. And the number of registered voters kept on increasing at the polling unit, to the extent that in some polling units we have over 6,000, 10,000 registered voters. And you can imagine how many hours we will need to attend to 10,000 voters in a polling unit. So, when that was happening, what INEC did was to now come up with a proposal that we wanted to create new polling units. But we had something that we were implementing earlier, where we have registered voters in excess of 750. So we now take the multiples of that 750 as a threshold. We were using what we call voting points. If this is a polling unit with 3,000 registered voters, on the election day, we will have the polling unit, and then we will now have 3 additional voting points. By implication, people can vote in 4 places in this polling unit. And so, at the voting point, they will count the ballot there and record on a sheet. And then will now be joined with the mother polling unit. And everything will now be recorded for that polling unit. But late 2000, we decided that why are we operating voting points? Why don't we convert them to polling units? We engaged with the stakeholders, including the CSOs, the security, the political class, the traditional rulers, electorate, and all the other stakeholders for over a year. This is our proposal. What do you think about this? We discussed extensively, and it was agreed that we convert those voting points 2 polling units. So by implication, the polling unit that we have here with 3 additional voting points, that polling unit stays here, but we'll now go outside across the road, put another polling unit there. Move about 500 meters or 1 kilometer, put another one there, and then move down a little bit, another 1 kilometer, and put another one there. Meaning that all the people who were voting here before are within a radius of 1 to 3 kilometers and can vote in different polling units. However, what we were not able to do was to migrate the registered voters in the mother polling unit to the new polling unit, because our clients, you know, when I say our clients, the political class, did not agree to that. And so up till now, we are leveraging on people transferring themselves voluntarily. So I will come back to that later. And I'm going to show you the statistics of the number of people that have actually registered in this polling unit. So we created the polling unit, and we engaged with the stakeholders in locating the new polling unit. Unfortunately, we do not have any signage at present for them, for people to see. But we have the list of all these new polling units and the existing polling units on a portal, which I'm going to show you the URL, the address very soon. So that before you register during the continuous voter registration, you have to first of all check the polling units, and then you now pick whichever polling unit you want to register. So we were able to successfully create new polling units. Initially, nationwide, we had about 120,000 polling units. So, but at present, we were able to create additional 56,000 polling units. So nationwide, we now have about 176,000 plus. In Osun State, we had about 3,000 polling units initially, and we were able to create additional 753 new polling units. So we now have 3,758 polling units in Osun State. So our target is to have not more than 500 to 750 registered voters in each polling unit. So that going by the experience we have had in the past with 35% turnout of voters, it means between 200 and 300 people will come and vote. But as we are removing voters' apathy, we believe we can handle up to 750 voters in a polling unit, rather than handling 3,000, 4,000, 10,000, and 15,000 in a polling unit. Why that has become a problem for us, I'm going to come to that in a moment. So, what we want is to be able to populate those polling units. And so we launched the continuous voter registration precisely on, I think it was June 26 last year. And then we have done the first quarter, the second quarter, we're on the third quarter now, and then we will do the fourth quarter, and that will be the end. But in Osun State, we are going to end the continuous voter registration at the end of this third quarter. So, when we started the continuous voter registration, we have our machines, which we call IVET, Integrated Voter Enrollment Device, which has replaced our smart card reader. It's a more complex and robust machine, which is better than the smart card reader, faster, with better resolution, and can capture the biometrics and the facials. It has applications for artificial intelligence that has actually been trained to recognize features, especially the facial features and the biometrics, that's the fingerprint. We will, as we move on, if we need additional features to be added, we have actually taken one already, with the facial feature that we are taking, we have taken the iris. For those who know, as we have, okay, as we have our fingerprints being unique, so is our iris. The eyeball is also unique in nature. And we have taken that, but we have not enabled that feature. What we enabled is the feature of the face. And when we were taking the facial feature, we also took the normal face and the smiling face. Okay? If I want to impersonate, when you see my normal face, okay, maybe I resemble somebody, but we will not smile in the same way. Are we getting the point now? We are not going to smile the same way. If we smile the same way, and we find out from experiences of the elections that we will be doing, we will now enable the iris feature. My face and the person my iris and that person that I'm impersonating, our iris will not be the same. For those who are frequent travelers, in some countries, they don't ask for your passport again. Once you get to the airport, for the first time, they will ask for your passport, you will take biometrics, you will take facials. The next time you go to that country, you will just pass. Because as you are passing, there is a camera that you are facing, which you will not know. And it will have taken your facial feature and the iris. And the customs officer and the immigration officer sitting there will have seen all your profile, and you will just pass. Because they already know it's you. There's a sensor that will pick you. But we have not enabled that work. If there is a need for it, we will get to that level. So the technology that we are introducing. And we are using that IVET, so we take the biodata for new registrants. We have a portal. I'm going to show you all those URLs very soon for registration. And we have 5 categories of people that are registering. One, those who are just turning 18 who are Nigerian. New registration. That's those who have not registered before. And then we have those who want to transfer as a result of movement from one area to the other. And then we have transfers also for people who want to migrate from their polling unit to another polling unit, especially the new polling unit. Then we have another module for lost card and damaged cards. And then we have another module for corrections of defaced cards. We can't read the features on the cards. On and on, like there are about 5 categories. So once you get to that portal, you pick your category, if it is new registration or transfer, or you want to correct your cards. For lost and damaged cards, you have to do an affidavit for us to be sure that it's yours. Similarly for the defaced cards, and that's what is ongoing now. And you will realize that in Osun State, we're actually leading in the country with about 620,000 people who have registered online in Osun State. The next state is around 200 and something thousand. Yeah, so we are 400,000 ahead of most of the state. But unfortunately, I regret to tell you that we divided the registration into 2 phases. The first phase is the online registration, which you have to do yourself. Supply your biometrics, supply your picture, normal face, smiling face, and some fingerprint. And then you will now come to our office, which is the second phase, which we call the completion of registration. I will tell you the reason why we divided the thing into 2 phases. It's because of our clients. If we go fully online, they will tell you that, you see, INEC, they are registering people in their offices. So we want people to do part of it, 80% on their own, and then now come to us to be able to verify that it is you. So this face we are seeing matches your face. Okay, we can now complete your registration. So we now take your other details that we want to take and then print a temporary card for you. But we requested people to submit valid phone number and email. And we are going to contact everybody when their PVCs are printed, either by SMS or by email. So that's why we were telling people, please don't use another person's email or phone number. And if you have to do that, make sure it is somebody that is very close to you, that you trust very well, so that when that person received the communication, he will inform you, and then you will have to go and do the registration. That exercise, as at now, only 225,000 in Osun State have completed their registration out of the 600,000 plus. Even though at that we are still leading in the country. Then we observed also that people are actually not transferring to the new polling unit. It's either that they don't know or they are being forced to remain where they are, which is a possibility. Or being lured, let me put it that way, not being forced. Being lured to remain where they are by the political class, well, that's a possibility, or that people are not aware of the polling unit. So we have embarked on sensitization exercise. We'll be playing some jingles on the radio and the television very soon for people to transfer to those polling units. Reason being that when we went for the election in Anambra, we realized that 62% of the new polling units in Anambra State have no registered voters. People did not transfer to those new polling units. They opted to remain in the existing polling units. At the FCT, 33% of the polling units have no registered voters. But there is something funny about that as well. We don't have any zero polling unit in Osun State. Nearly all our new polling units have at least one or two or three or more. So we don't have any zero registration in any of our, because the awareness, I think, is better here. But we also have another information. Maybe if we move to the next slide, before I mention this. The next two slides, please. Next two. Yeah, no, move to the next one. Next one. Yeah. If you see this, this is exactly what we found out in FCT also. Out of the 573 polling units that has no registered voters at the FCT, 96% of them are at the AMAC, Abuja Municipal Area Council. So when you talk of Abuja Municipal Area Council, that's why out of that 70%, almost 100% of them are elites. That's the central Abuja. 96% of the polling units without registered voters are in AMAC. By implication, me and you, elites, are the ones that are not even interested in the political process at all. Now, I decided to do this analysis. And you can see the ones in red. Now, I have polling units with over 100 registered voters. The percentage of polling units with over 100 registered voters. In Atakumasha East, that's Ikpenido, very rural area. 77% of the new polling units have minimum of 100 that have transferred to or registered at the new polling unit. But look at Osogbo. What do we have in Osogbo? 14.47%. Osogbo, state capital. I'm not sure many of you know Ikpenido. Ikpenido? How many people know Ikpenido? Maybe because you are working with the CSO. I've been passing Ibadan, moving from Ibadan to Akure, Ekiti since 1984. My first time of going to Ikpenido was when I assumed duty as a rec of INEC in Osun. I don't know a town called Ikpenido, because it's off the road. And if you don't have any business in that area, you won't have to. Now, look at Ife. Ife Central, 0. Meaning that all the new polling units there have less than 100 registered voters. Ife Central, Ife North. You know Ife North? Ipe Tumodu, Moro, Abi, is it Moro? Moro, Edouaban, and all those places. By the time you start mentioning who is who in Nigeria, many of them are from that area. So it was when I came here that I knew that most people who say, I'm from Ife, they're actually from that local government. the big names that we know. Yet, look at it. New polling units created there. People did not transfer there. The municipal areas, the metropolitan areas. But look at the remotest area there, 77%. So, that is what we are facing. Look at Ilesha East. That is the center of Ilesha. Just 10%. 10%. So, people are more politically conscious in the rural areas than even in the urban areas. That's part of the problems that we're having. So, because of that, we are launching a campaign, a sensitization campaign for people to transfer to the area. So, we need your assistance, especially the CSOs, okay, to help us appeal to people to transfer so that we will not be having queues during the election. Why should people remain in a place where you have 2,000 voters? Why don't you move the next 100 meters, 200 meters away from that place and go and vote in a place where you have less people? And then you complete the election. But our people will profit from having crowds because they will cause commotion. Election will be delayed till night so that result sheets can be torn, ballot papers can be burned. But we are targeting a situation where we can complete election even before the 2:30 target that we have set. And so everybody will be able to see themselves. By the time people come with clubs, machetes and whatever, you can see who is who. And you can point, Omo Babarajini. Are you getting the point now? I mean, that's what used to happen in the past. You don't have talks because immediately you misbehave. Somebody will point, Ileto Tiwani. But nowadays, you know, that one is no more happening. So, now, on the election day, okay, before we get to election day, as part of our preparation, we have moved all our uncollected PVCs, permanent voters card, to our local government offices. They have been there now for more than 6 months. And we have been appealing to people to come and collect the cards. But since then, over 6 months, we've had less than 5% of people turning up to collect their PVCs. The PVCs are there. We know in Nigeria, it is the day we announce that PVC collection will close in 2 days' time that everybody will rush down. And the press will also bombard our offices and say, you see, they are not effective. They are not distributing effectively. People are crowding and whatever. But now, for the past 6 months, we have been expecting people, they are not coming. Then, during election, okay, let me assure you also before the election that as we are doing the continuous voter registration, as soon as we finish or end the CVR in April, within 3 weeks to 1 month, the voters card will be ready and we'll make announcement for people to come and collect all the new registrants, including those who have registered before. And in addition, please take note, all cards, permanent voters cards that have been issued by INEC since 2011 are still valid. They are valid. I can say we committed an error on our portal. On our portal, we put it there, one of the modules, that you can revalidate your card. Actually, what we should put there is to come do and update your records, no validation. Validation means the card is no more valid, but it is updating of records that we are actually doing. For example, myself, I registered in 2011. If I bring out my card now, I did not have a single gray hair there. Now I have lots of gray hairs. I like keeping my hairs, the head and whatever, but Even though I've shaven it now, I've barbed it, but I like those gray hairs. I like them very well. So now, if I have to go for accreditation, there may be some problems. So the best thing for me now is to go and update my record online, such that I will take a new picture. That's what we meant by that revalidation. It's not that the cards are no more valid. So, but during the elections, our IVET will turn to BVAS, biometric verification, accreditation system. Bimodal voter accreditation system, sorry, bimodal. Bimodal in the sense that it will accredit and authenticate your fingerprints and your facials. It has the capacity for that. And in addition, in fact, it's not even bimodal, it is multiple modal. The same beavers will also be used to scan the result sheets and send it onto a portal during the election. So let me go through the process. During the election, beavers, our IVET, which we are using to capture your information for registration as a voter, will be turned to beavers. We call it beavers during election. It's the same machine. You come, we collect your card and look at the code on the card. This time around, we are not going to read the card. So their machine is failing, it's not reading. It's out of the way. We are not using smart card reader anymore. There's a code on your card which we will enter onto the beavers, and then it will pop up your details, your pictures, your fingerprints, your biodata, and then the presiding officer, the assistant presiding officer too, will confirm your identity. Physical. He looks at the picture, he looks at you, and he says, yes, this is the man. Then he will go ahead to the machine verification, which is now asking you to put your fingerprint. And then once that is verified, it reads your fingerprint, then you have been accredited to vote. You can now move to assistant presiding officer, the presiding officer one, who will issue you your ballot papers for you to go and vote. If the fingerprint would not work, then it will go ahead and move to the next mode, which is your facial recognition, and verify that. Once that is done, that's accredited. But please bear with us. In Osun State, we are going to have over 25,000 ad hoc staff that will work for us. And we are going to train over 10,000 of them to handle the machines. But we are not going to bring out 10,000 machines to train them. And you know our attitude in Nigeria. If we bring out 100 machines to train 10,000 people, and you ask them to queue so that they will do it one by one, you see some will be talking behind. They will not even come. But for lost and damaged cards, I've said it, you will need affidavit and police report to protect ourselves. We don't want people to come and start claiming another person's card. And we won't have anything to defend ourselves in case there is a litigation. So you will have to scan the affidavit and the police report along with your request. And you don't need to come to our office. So the URL is cvr.inec.gov.ng or cvr.inecnigeria.org. Now, before I tell you other things that we have done, I want to also inform you that on the election day, we have a portal where you can watch the proceedings of the elections as the election is progressing. Right from 8:30 a.m. You will know the number of polling units that have opened, the number of polling units that are yet to open, you will be able to access your own polling unit or any polling unit that you are interested in on that portal, because that portal will be live. And for every person that is accredited on that day, it will be indicated that in this polling unit, one person has been accredited. 2 persons have been issued ballot papers. 3 persons have voted live, real time, until the end of that election. So, and as soon as the election ends and the counting was done and the result recorded, that BVAS has a module that will be used to scan that result, and then that result will appear on that portal, so that you have a copy of the result of your polling unit with you. And you can also see the result of all the other polling units. So if you go there to that portal, you will see the result, the entire result of the Edo election. You can print if you like. The entire result of Ondo election. The entire result of the FCT election. Even now. The same way you will see as the election is progressing, and after. They will be there for live. You know, live as far as ICT is concerned is for as long as whatever system we are operating is still valid. So not until when our satellites are down. So that portal is INEC election results.ng. This morning I was at rave on their invitation. And sometimes we also request that we want to come and talk. So it's both ways. But majorly we use state radios and then other stations that have coverage. So we have been doing that. We are working seriously with the NYSC. We have visited the NYSC as well. And we have visited the federal higher institutions. We were with the Vice Chancellor of Obafemi Awolowo University. Our next visit will be to the Federal Polytechnic at Ede, because those are our labor suppliers, including the NYSC. So they are the supplier of our labors. We use the corpus, and then final year students at the federal higher institutions. Please, you may not be one of our ad hoc staff if you are not working with a federal institution. We don't use state institutions for obvious reasons. So we use federal institutions. So please appeal to people. Those who are not in federal institutions, it is not because we don't want to employ them. It is because we have not been mandated to use them. So we need to let people know that. I need to also mention that no PVC, no voting. No voting by proxy. I'm not around, let my child vote for me or my friend or whatever. We don't allow that. Now, our other plans is to visit the traditional rulers and some other stakeholders that we have not visited. Of recent, we have reviewed our registration area centers. Let me explain what the racks mean. We have what we call the registration area center on the eve of the election. Once we have moved election materials, the sensitive materials, to the local government, we have designated centers within the registration areas. We call them RA centers, registration area centers. Majorly public buildings or schools, either town halls or schools, where we camp our ad hoc staff overnight on the day of election. So all the ad hoc staff have to report at our RAC centers by 2 p.m. on Friday, preceding the day of election, where we will give them briefing and also review the trainings that we have given them, a kind of revision for them. And towards the morning, usually we make it, what do they call the fire camp or whatever that we normally do. Most of them don't sleep. They enjoy it. You know, they are coppers and they have been doing. So overnight, we would distribute the sensitive materials to them. as soon as it's 6 a.m., our vehicles will start moving out to the polling units. So those rack centers, we have just reviewed the rack centers, and we have communicated with the appropriate quarters on the rack centers that we want renovated, because we want good convenience for our ad hoc staff. These are some of the steps that we are taking. Very soon we will start playing jingles on the radio for enlightenment, and at the same time we will start some trainings. What we want to do in Osun State this time around is to start the training early enough, not waiting until 1 month to the election. But that's at our own expense. My dilemma is, where are we going to get the fund? Because it's not part of the funding that will be given to us. So if we come to you, we rely on you to, you may have to assist us. But we won't go to the political class for assistance. But we know the CSO, you can also assist us. Now, our election procedure remains open, secret, open ballot. I hope we understand what it means. Open, the accreditation will be done openly. Bring your card. Is it you or not? Everybody will see it. Ballot paper will be issued openly. Okay, that's the open, the first open. The secret part of it is go and cast your ballot inside a cubicle where nobody is going to see you. That's the secret part of it. And then the other open at the end is go and come and drop your cast ballot in the ballot box openly. Let everybody see you that you are dropping. So that it's not going to be that INEC has stuffed the ballot boxes. We will let everybody see that this ballot box is empty before we start election. And it is only the ones that are cast by the voters that will be stuffed into the ballot box. Now, we are operating an inclusive process. As I'm speaking, 2 years ago, I think it's up to 2 years now, we created a department at the headquarters, which we call Gender and Inclusivity Department, with full complement of staff. So that department has a director, several deputy directors, several assistant directors, and other staff dealing with people with disability and people that are marginalized. I think we are about the first government agency to do that. So because of that, we have gone a long way. Initially, we've had braille ballot papers for people with a visual impairment. We have people operating sign languages for people with hearing impairment. We have relocated most of our polling units to make them accessible to people with physical disability. The new addition was what we did at the FCT before the election. We realized that there is a leper colony there. So we went there with the beavers. We can't take their biometrics. They don't have fingers. They don't have fingerprints. So we took their facials. And all of them voted during that election with accreditation done for them by the facial accreditation. Before, we always don't reckon with them because they can't, there's no means of identification. So the beavers has actually enabled us to do that. So other people with disability, we are also taking good care of them, and we meet with them regularly. The youths, yes, as we are saying, it's not too young to run. I understand there is a woman that is about 105 years old and says not too old to run. Well, so we are working with the youths, and Osun State, we are known for that. Everybody is free to vote, but we want to discourage illegal practices. So as a result of that, we have electoral offenses and penalties. People have been agitating that they should set up a commission for prosecution of electoral offenses, and they want it matched with INEC. Please, don't put too much burden on us. Our mandate is to conduct election. Prosecuting people who have committed offenses, let another agency handle that and can work with the security agencies. We have a lot of election offenses that people can commit. Let me read one. A person who is in possession of more than one valid voter's card, the penalty is liable on conviction to a maximum fine of 1 million naira or 12 months imprisonment. Now, this question will come. Every time people are registering, we discover multiple registration. People ask us, what are you doing on that? Yes, because the system we are operating now is a standalone system. We cannot detect multiple registration at the point of registration. But we run what we call ABIS, okay? A form of verification to find out whether there are multiple registrants, okay? When we ran that for Anambra, we discovered 33% of those who registered did multiple registration. The reason why we have not prosecuted them, we only just delete the multiple registrations and leave because many of them were not aware that this continuous voter registration, those who have registered before are not supposed to register. So we take it to mean that they were ignorant. You know, ignorance of law is not an excuse. But we don't want to heat up the polity. We don't want to cause unnecessary, stress or whatever within the society. So what we did was just, once we detect that, oh, this person is already on our database and he has registered again, we just delete and leave him with the old card that he can still come and register with the old card. And there are so many other whatever there. Now, please, at INEC, we now have a number that people can actually call on to. Our number is 0807 114 9999. Easy to remember. Glow 7 114 9999. That's 0807 114 9999. Once you call, the receptionist will pick, and then we'll ask you what you want. If you are talking about sensitization of voter education, you'll be transferred to Mr. Lucky Balogun in his office. He will answer your question. If it is an operational problem, the head of department of operation will answer. If it's something that has to do with REC, that call will be transferred to me or whoever is acting on my behalf. So, so we receive external call and it can be transferred to any of the offices. So I think with this little that I've mentioned, if there's any other thing that I remember, I will let you know. Well, maybe I should add this, some of our challenges. One, the mindset of the political class. The mindset. And sometimes, efforts at manipulating whatever we are doing. But I think we have grown beyond that. Our systems are not the system that anybody can actually break into. Within the IT processes that we have now, which is also foolproof. Sometimes our political culture is characterized by violence. We want to appeal, please tell people to reduce violence during election. And then voters' apathy, people not coming out. I've just told you the highest we have recorded is 35% voter turnout. And so I've said earlier also that people have not come to collect their PVCs. The PVCs are at our local government offices. So you can assist us by passing all these messages across. That's how far we have gone in terms of preparation for the 2022 governorship election in Osun State. On behalf of the chairman, myself, and the entire member of staff of INEC in Osun State, we assure you that we are fully ready and we are committed to conducting a free, fair, credible, conclusive, and inclusive election. Thank you very much.
Let's put our hands together for him once again. Thank you very much, the Honorable Resident Electoral Commissioner. I like that word, conclusive. Having said so much, I know and I'm sure we have one or two questions, comments, additions, and others to put up. At this point, I will hand over to the moderator of this session, Mr. Femi Olanipekun, to take over from here. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. I'm sure we have been making points. I've noticed that almost every one of us were jotting down, noting the points by the Honorable Rec. I'd like us to please appreciate him once again. That was a lovely presentation, giving us an idea of how prepared INEC is. Thank you very much, sir. So because of our time, if you have questions, because we need to manage the space left for us, I'd like you to signify, tell us your name and your organization, and I guess we limit it to just one question per person. All right, so I see people raising up arms already, saying no. Okay, so maybe we'll limit it to just 2 questions per person, then, but not more than 2. So, no, not more than 2. No more than 2. So we'll take it in batches of 4. Prof, would that be fine by you, sir? Okay, so 4 questions per batch. 4 persons per batch, then we'll move on. So let me start, okay, from this end. 1, 2, 3, 4 in this order. So your name, your organization, and your question.
Good morning, everyone. My name is, okay, we are in the afternoon. My name is Ayola Olusegun. I'm the executive director of OPAT. OPAT is an NGO, non-governmental organization, based in Osun State here. My question to INEC is this. I want to know what INEC is doing in regards to students that are still in school. How people that are people above 18 years that are eligible to vote, how they want to get them registered. Because last year, the last election that was held, there's some students that complained during the voter education that we heard at Ife North that when the registration was going on, they were still in school and there was no registration center at their schools, so they could not participate in the election. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The next person.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
Thank you very much to the DPC dowses for this action.
JDPMC.
Also, JDPMC.
Yes. I
I really appreciate them. The Lord will be with you and guide you because you are doing a lot for the community. And also thank our commissioner, resident commissioner. We really appreciate you for taking your pain to come along with people and you lower yourself to the community. You know the grassroots is the whole of any strong, to get a result, you need the grassroots. My question now is, one of the questions is that we don't want this inconclusive results in Osun again. Hope you will do something and assist us as regard to that one. 2, considering a lot have been said here, some of us that didn't collect our voter card, some people, when you see the yellow jar, they will say, voter card, bẹ́ẹ̀ gba káàdì, àwọn tọ́ọ̀gì tí ó dìbò fún wọn ti dé, kò sí tẹ́sán létí wa tá dáin lò. They won't listen to you. But we need, how can you help us involve national NOAS, national orientation? This is where we need them. We need them for community mobilization, community involvement, community awareness. That's what is happening to some of the primary health center. When they are going to build any primary health center, you won't carry along the people living in that area. They will say that area is for political B. I won't go to that center to go and take care of my child. They will kill that child. That's what is happening. Now, please, sir, will you help us to involve the NOAA to assist us in this area, as it is very crucial. We have a lot of markets, 5 days market, very big one. We have one at Orolu, Ikirun. This is where we can get them. They will not come up when we decide anything. And most of the programs should be open here, open campaign, not indoor, because they won't be able to come indoor. They won't listen to you. But if it is carried out in open space, they will say, what is going there? I will go and see what is going on.
Thank you very much, man. Thank you very much, man.
Thank you very much. My name is Sonichiju Kennedy. I'm the chairman, Joint National Association of Persons with Disability, Osun State and Southwest. I want to appreciate the REC for their support in terms of inclusivity of persons with disability in the electoral process. My question goes thus, sir. We have students that are above 18 years in our special schools, but they are unable to go out for the registration of the voter, for their voters card. Please, how can you help us to discharge your staff to our special school to register of our students? Secondly, for those that are affected in their hands, because some of our people are not having completed hands, what are you doing, for us to have an access for the registration? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. The last person for this batch.
Yes, thank you very much. Honorable Prof. My name is Comrade Michael Ebofin from Network of NGOs. Thank you for your presentation. But number one, just to know if there is any provision, security now, for INEC officials and observers at polling units. Because when I was roving in 2018, I met a roadblock at a particular place around Eden North that we have to run away. And somebody who did not register at that polling unit said that is his community and he has to vote with his 3 wives. The police officers could not handle the case. So I had to move around a bit and escape because I was about to be trapped. When I was going to the next community, so I had to turn around and escape from the community. Then 2, is Avis still going to be useful? Avis, they won't be presented at that time that if anybody has done any multiple registration. Yes. And another one.
That's number 3, sir. We agreed on 2. Thank you very much, sir. Prof.
Thank you very much. Well, I quite appreciate those who have answered. First of all, let me add that I missed out vote buying and vote selling while I was talking. Please, our jurisdiction is within the precincts of the polling units. We will ensure that there is no vote buying or selling within the precincts of the polling units. That's where we have the power. Outside the polling units, we don't have any power. Please don't ask us, INEC, what are you doing about vote buying or vote selling? It is only when you see vote buying or selling at the polling unit that you call our attention to it. Anything outside the polling units, we are going outside our boundaries. That is the work of the security agencies. Please let us separate the two. So we do everything possible to make sure no vote buying and selling there. Well, for the students at voting age, their registration, that's one thing that I also forgot to mention. the continuous voter registration has been made to be very flexible and global. Wherever you are, you can do your registration online. So the students, wherever they are, they can go onto our portal and do the registration. Once they are 18, the pre-registration online. After that, they can go to the nearest local government to go and complete that registration. And then during that registration, the pre-registration, if I am a student in Akure and I want to vote in Ibadan, I will pick my polling unit in Ibadan because it's a global system. So the registration I'm doing is for Ibadan, even though I will be doing it in Akure. And so when I go to the INEC office to complete the registration, I'm only supplying the biometrics. I had already picked my polling unit where I will vote. And so the only thing that will be required is when the PVC will be printed, the person will have to go and collect it in Ibadan. So that student will have to leave school. When we say the PVCs are ready, you will have to go and collect that PVC in Ibadan. The registration can be done anywhere.
And I want to register. I register now, and I want to vote in Akure. So where on your portal now, am I going to be in Akure, in Ondo State, or here?
No. Akure.
So what it means is that part of the 200,000 people who have registered in Osun completed. So if you have people like that, are they counting for Osun? Or
No. They are counting for wherever they pick.
Oh, okay.
They are counting for wherever they pick. When I was in Ogun, a Borno person came to our office to register. But we made him realize that the only thing that we haven't been able to do for now, for obvious reasons, is that you will have to go and collect your PVC in Borno. That is the only thing that we have not been able to do. But we will get there. That you can register here, you can collect your PVC here, but you have to go and vote wherever you want to vote. But let's do it step by step. Maybe I should quickly answer the question of the special school. There is also a special school somewhere. They informed us that they are not able to do registration. But I told them, I don't have the power to bring the machine to their school. Can you transport them to the nearest local government office? And they said, yes, they can do that. So I called the electoral officer there. Please leave today open. Announce to everybody in that local government that a special school is coming. They will be the only one to be registered today. So if you get in touch with us, we'll make that arrangement for you. Now, I've told you about those who have problems with their hand. We will take their facials, and then we will target that this person has to be accredited by the facials. Unless the face is also not, I may not be able to answer that for now. That would be special registration. So, then, secondly, the inconclusive election. Let me tell you, you have given us inconclusive as our second name. But anyway, you see, you christened us as inconclusive, but we are actually not the one causing the inconclusiveness. That's the trick that I said I didn't want to say on air. I hope this one will not also be played publicly, so that I can tell you. Now, let me leave this one so that maybe your mic will not be used. What causes inconclusive? Let me tell you what normally causes inconclusive. When election is going on, the political class will set up a situation room. They will be monitoring the result of the election. They know we use the margin of victory. Once they find out that the margin of victory is 10,000, and there are polling units where that one result is being delayed and they know that there are a lot of registered voters there, they will not go and disrupt that. And according to our own election procedures, once there is violence, there will be cancellation. Once we are able to establish that election took place and then there was violence, so they were not able to conclude, we will now say we are going to have a rerun election. And you know the tricks they do during the rerun. Huh? That one too. So these are tricks that we don't. So that's why we have become inconclusive. But we are not the inconclusive people. So apathy during registration. I like the way you put it. We should talk to Noah. We are also doing our bit so that we have people who will go and tell people that your votes are counting. And so please go and vote. So we have our voter education and publicity department. They are doing a lot. At our local government, we have people we call VEDO, voter and publicity, education and publicity officers. We have youth officers. We have youth ambassadors amongst the youth corpers who go to the market to sensitize people. We are doing all this, even though we are incapacitated by fund. But you see us outside most of the time talking to people. We go on the media. We do quite a lot of things. We want to engage with people. So if we are not able to tell you that we want to come, please call us. We will come. For us, if we are on the road for 24 hours, we are happy because we want to reduce the apathy. But we want to know where to go. So then the next question, okay, I've answered that. And then the last one, security. And yes, we normally provide adequate security, but election is a civil process. Please take note. That's one thing that many of us don't take cognizance of. It's a civil process. So security agents that will be at the polling units will not carry harm. They will not carry harm. But there are rapid response squad around that you can call. So if you are an observer group or a monitor group, please call in our office to collect your kits and collect your information kit as well, where you will find numbers of all DPOs, area commanders, then commanders of rapid response squads who are carrying arms but would not be at the polling unit, such that in case you are in danger, you know who to call to come and rescue. So that as observer, when you are in a polling unit and you sense danger, you can call those people. They will come closer. And once people see those who are carrying arms, the effect will be lessened. The effect will be lessened. So, but if you don't have the information kit, you won't be able to get what we are talking of. Secondly, for you to move between local governments, you must have all the necessary kits that we give you. The overall, what do you call it? The vest. You must have your name tag, printed by INEC, not by your organization. Because we have color codes, we have shapes, we have the type, whatever, that we have given to the security. So they will mount roadblocks in between local government. You won't be able to pass if that doesn't match the requirements that we gave them. So make sure you come to us to collect all this. When I monitored the election in Anambra in 2017, I was moving from Oka to Idemili North local government. In between, we got into a military checkpoint. I identified myself, I'm a rec. My PA had a tag and the vest. The driver, ordinarily, you don't expect any. Unfortunately, my orderly did not collect, not this one, it was did not collect his own security tag. Despite the fact that I told them I'm the resident electoral commissioner in charge of the local government I'm looking at, and I'm going there, they refused. They said we have to go back to Oka for him to collect. He wanted to flex muscle. I said, enter the car, let's go back. So I ordered my, please enter, we will go back. The army major that was there now came to me, he saluted. He said, Oga, I like your countenance, please go. You know the military, they don't want you to flout their orders. He said, you can't pass, I have orders. And I said, okay, no problem. We will go back, I will go and collect. He said, please, you can pass. Because I have respected him, he also respected me. If I, flex muscle, you don't know me, I'm a commissioner, I'm this, I'm that, I will call the president now, I will call governor. He will say, well, I call them. The only order I will take is from my brigadier. Even if the president comes and says, don't you know him? I appointed him on so date and this and that and whatever. And it's this and he will say, sir, my commandant said nobody must pass. And that's it. So please get the necessary kits to ensure, and where you sense danger, that's where you will get the numbers of people to call. Please don't flex muscle with anybody. Never, never. So, okay, AFIS. I mentioned it. We have moved from AFIS. We are now running ABIS. We do that, and I've given you statistics of the multiples that we have detected. Same thing we will do for Osun State. So the 619,000 may eventually become 400,000. But we will run that. So be sure of that. We have not gotten to the level of immigration. That's the only mandate they have. We have several things that we are doing. Our budget has not gotten to that level to do real-time detection of multiples. If we invest fully in that one, we won't be able to conduct election. So please bear with us for now. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. So the next set of questions here, 1, 2, 3, well, so that we are gender sensitive and inclusive also. See, it's an all male line. So I just take 3 here and ask that we get 1 female from this end. And then please, for those of us who are connecting with us online, please do well to signify. I think our people at the back end can help us to know when we have anyone. Just let me know immediately. Okay, so do I just allow them with this bad, Prof? Oh, so by the kind permission of Prof, I'm taking you to, so it'll be 4, 5. All right, so let's start from here.
All protocol duly observed. It's just an observation. Most of the time when I pass through Lameco area, there's an INEC office there. If you pass early in the morning around 8.
Excuse me, sir. You've not told us your name and your organization.
Okay. Sorry. My name is Oladipupo Emmanuel Banji, Executive Director for Save Our Land. All protocol duly observed. But it's just an observation. Most of the time when you pass through the INEC office along Lameco area, Osogbo local government, you find plenty of youths and so on and so forth in that place. When you are coming back around afternoon, you still find plenty of people. Up till now, are they not answering to their request in that place of what is actually happening? Thank you.
Yeah, Mr. Femi, I think, do we have 2 minutes to answer to ask the question?
2 questions. 2, 1, 2.
Just
1, 2.
allocate time so that
No, not time.
I can ask the 7 in 2
If you
minutes.
can summarize them in just 2 questions,
Okay.
that will be
All
fine.
right, thank you. Okay, so my name is Bukola Idowu, team lead of Kimpa Development Initiative. My all protocol duly observed. Sir, I want to first of all ask for the purpose of sensitization. When is transferring to the new polling units going to end? So that we can actually mobilize people to do that. Secondly, I want to know, because I know by law, INEC is also empowered to allocate people to that new polling unit. By law, I know. People can do that voluntarily, and the INEC can do that. Now, if we have people, if people are not doing that, is that option on the table, sir? So that we don't have 0 polling unit or below 100 so that we can depopulate that, a lot of polling units. I have the rest, but I am limited to 2.
And so you can come back again, but let's just take it round.
All right. I think I prefer to stand. Good afternoon, everyone. Okay. Maybe I can come under 1 comment, 2 questions, and 1 clarification.
I'm afraid it's just 2. It could be comments or questions.
All right. I want to ask the Honorable Commissioner. Okay, my name is Mio Adabanija. I work with Seed Africa. Are there penalties for your ad hoc staff? Because we know so well that, okay, you have your rules for those who are full staff of INEC. But for ad hoc staff, there are times they circumvent the rules. I don't know if there have been scapegoats, and I just also believe that if there have been, it would be good that CSOs and those who will be putting out information have some of this stuff on documents so that when we publicize these things, other ad hoc staff who want to circumvent the rules of INEC will know. That's the one. Then he just needed to ask about a clarification on the lepers. When the face is being captured by beavers for them to, I was just wondering, what hand would they vote with in terms of thumb printing? Thank you.
My name is Orekunlijio, Good Governance Committee. Sir, according to the name INEC, what is your commission doing to be truly independent? That is just what I want to ask.
All right.
Thank you, sir. When you were presenting, you raised, I am Mrs. Onolapo Murenike, a staff of JDPMC, Osogbo. When you were presenting, you raised a very critical issue about the participation of elites in voting process. I want to ask if the commission has a research department, a research department who needs to really be going beyond assumption, let me put it that way, to really access the reason why the elites choose not to participate actively in electionary process, so that we can know if there are issues that the INEC can, or steps that INEC can take in that regard to really educate the elites or sensitize them on their, or the needs for their effective participation in this electionary process. That is my question.
Thank you.
Standing on the existing protocol. My name is Juliet Sakonde from JDPMC. The first question is an observation. When we are watching the slides of the polling of the local governments, I noticed that Orolu is missing in the list of the local governments. So I didn't know if you have any figure that you can give to us towards that. That is one. The second one is this. From my experience during last election, for the second election, there are some local polling units, some local government, some polling units in the grassroots, I mean in the bush. While we are observing, when we got there, there was no network, no glow, no yet. If they kill you there, you die. there's nobody to come and rescue you. Even when my coordinator comes to the place, he said, just pack your load and let's go. You cannot stay here. What is INEC doing in those areas? And then you want to observe through internet, you cannot get any signal from that area.
All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, the queue at the Osogbo local government. What is responsible for that queue? Well, it's not on the air. I would have loved that somebody should come down there and sample the opinions of the people there. Most of the people that come every day, they are regular visitors there. They are agents of political parties. They transport people there and stay until those people will register. Are you getting the point now? So they are agents just staying there, but you know we don't allow them in. We only allow people who want to vote. I mean, who want to register to enter. So, and it will be difficult for us to start saying, go away, go away, go away, go away. We just leave them there. Have you come to register? Write your name. We give you a number. Have you come to register? So we call them in 5 at a time. And once we do this, we call the next 5. At the end of the day, you see some people there. Every day you see them. So, but you know, in order not to heat up the politics, not to cause stress within we just left them. Otherwise, you just see one political party coming. INEC is sending away our people. They won't tell you what they have come to do. So, but because we are not allowing them into our premises, they are in a public place, under the trees. So, please, next time you are passing, try and sample the opinion. And have you come to register? Have you come to, you see all of them, they will just be walking away. Because they also don't want to confront anybody. Unfortunately, it is this same Osogbo local government that you have only 10% having 100 registrants at the new polling unit. So, they have their own system that they are operating. Then, when is the transfer ending? Yeah, I mentioned that. By the end of March, we are moving to the RAs to do the registration. We call devolution to the RAs. And immediately after that, we are ending. Let me just put it at the end of March, even though it will extend till first week in April, but put it at the end of March. So by that time, no more registration in Osun State. We will concentrate on printing the cards. Yes, we have the constitutional right to transfer. Why are we not doing it now? I've given the reason. We don't want anybody coming up with unnecessary reasons and whatever. Once we do that, they will tell us that we have alliance with a particular political party. That is the reason why we move some people to some places. We want to explore voluntary transfer to whatever level before we will now do, maybe before the 2023 election, we may now exercise our constitutional right. But for now, let us not cause problems. You know, whenever we are doing general elections, you won't have as many security as you used to have during this election. In this election, we are going to have more security agents than the number of voters. About 10 times the number of voters. Are you getting the point now? So, let's leave stand-alone election the way they are. We can have incursions from neighboring states to come and cause trouble. But when it's general election, the problem is always reduced to the barest minimum. So we can take risks that time. Yes, that's what is happening. Then, yes, whether we have actually prosecuted any ad hoc. I will give you just one example for you to know. My colleague at the University of Uyo, you all read that he was prosecuted. So that's just to tell you. We as INEC will not tell you the people that we have handed over for prosecution. get it from the media and the security agencies. We are operating a very sensitive process. So we don't want anybody to take us up on. It is everything that people read minutes to. But we hand over people once they are caught to the security agency. In a similar way, we insure all our ad hoc staff should anything happen to them. If you have known anybody that was injured or for death or whatever during election, we always compensate them. Because everybody, all our ad hoc staff are insured. So, as you are talking of negativity, we are also talking of positivity. But are we making noise of that? We are not making noise. Because people also can exploit that. Somebody will just come and say, oh, my vehicle ran into so, my this and that and whatever. So, but we keep quiet about it. But once it happens, we do those things. Because our job is very, very sensitive. What I will tell you in the open is just 10% of what we do. It's not as if we are operating a secretive whatever, but the nature of the people in this country. I told them once, we don't need all this technology in election. We don't need it. Simple trust. When I was living in the UK, I voted twice. My voter's card was just half of this, printed on a cardboard sheet, delivered to my house by post. You know, we have cancelled night post here. They will just drop it in your house 2 weeks to the election. And it's not compulsory for you to even take that card to the polling unit. The register of voters is there, printed. Once your name is there and you have a form of identification, I'm a student of the University of Osogbo. They look at it and they, oh, the name matches. They tick it and you vote. That's all. You don't even need the voter's card. We are investing heavily. Monies that we are supposed to use to construct roads, to build schools, to build this and that and whatever, because of lack of trust, we are wasting. So there are quite a lot of things that are going on underneath. The voting by lepers, even if they don't have hands, they have pointed spots on their hands, which they can use. Somebody can vote with this, because we know it's special voting. They are already been tagged, and so they can just vote. It's just for you to get the ink and put it beside whoever you want to vote for. The only thing that they don't have is the prints on the fingers, but they can actually thumb print or hand print or whatever you want to call it, or elbow print, whichever. Just put something there to show that you have indicated this is the person you want. Is INEC truly independent? Yes. Yes. It's truly independent. You know why I looked up and down? We are independent. I will give you two scenarios. One, the reason why you are doubting whether we are independent or not is because we get our money from government. But if you know about government funding and budgeting, we are on the first line charge. They call something first line charge. First line charge, once they approve the budget, they give you your money. Government has no hand in it anymore. Up front, everything will be given to you. So government has no hand in it. And in fact, now, we have INEC election fund. After election, at the end of the year, whatever remains from our budget, we don't return to the government. We return it into the election fund. And then we are the only one that have access to that election fund. That was how we were able to conduct the 2019 election effectively, because no fund was released until 2 weeks to the election. But we had gotten all the materials because we had to go and borrow. Let's put it that way. And we are borrowing from our money. We had to go and borrow from our savings to do a number of things to ensure that the election will take place. So when the budget was released, we returned it back there. So it's that fund is for emergency. But the independence that you are doubting is because we get money from the government. We are not from heaven. We are Nigerians. We are conducting election from Nigeria, and Nigeria must fund it. But once the fund is released, no arm of government have any power over whatever. Secondly, nobody in INEC can be removed from office by any arm of government, except when INEC complains itself. We want to remove our chairman. He has done this, he has done that, he has done that. Then that's where the lack of independence came. He was appointed by the president, so the removal must also go back to the president. But it is not the president that can initiate his removal. Do you get the point now? It is INEC that can initiate removal. But we have to go back to the person who appointed him through the National Assembly. So we will complain that our chairman is no more performing for this reason, for that reason. And we send it to the National Assembly, and then they will investigate and pass it to Mr. President to approve. But not the other way around. So we are truly independent. But we are not from heavens. We are not floating. We should know that. We are not floating. Then elite participation. We used to have a research unit. But we don't have the research unit anymore. But we have what we call the Electoral Institute, where we take researchers on sabbatical leave. And then we have a number of units under the ICT, the voter education and publicity. And so during election, we have 2 units that monitor election for us. We call one ESMC, Election Monitoring Support Center. We get statistics about everything that is happening on the field. So everything you are talking of, we know. The elite participation, urban, rural, and whatever. We do analysis from time to time. We have templates. I just told him that what I showed you now, I started the analysis from office. I started here because we have a template we are using for it. So that's the kind of research that but we don't have to say this is research unit, but we have Electoral Institute that is separate. It's not at our headquarters, but it's a separate entity established with a director general where research activities are going on. But the name research unit, we don't have. Then Orolu, sorry, it was I missed it out because I was rushing to do it. I missed it out, it's there. Well, the other one, difficult terrains. Yes, we are cognizant of that. We know there are difficult terrains. And in fact, as you are seeing them, we have gone through, how do you put it? Thick and thins, so many rough terrains in here, to the extent that even when we were moving around the state, we thought they would kidnap us. Sometimes we'll be in some areas, you know, with rough roads, thick forest, 1 hour. We ourselves now felt, so this is where we send these children to go and conduct election. We are cognizant of that fact. But let me tell you also, we have made election to be a very, very simple one. Our BVAS doesn't require network. Do you get the point now? It doesn't require network. But it works with network. So everywhere it is, it will work. For those who are in IT, they understand what I mean. You know Turaya phone? Turaya phone will work anywhere. Our BVAS will work anywhere. So the technology we are using, those are some of the things that we don't reveal. So that you remember the question they asked. We don't want to be manipulated. So we do that. Where you don't have network, are you not using DSTV? So we also have the technology we are using. Our smart card reader required SIM card network. BVAS doesn't require your network. Let me put it that way. Your network. It requires our own network. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Prof. With the kind permission of Father, I've been asked to allow those who have more questions, people like Mr. Idowu and Mr. Semi Adabanija, and perhaps others also. So for this next batch of questions. So let's take it. And then what about those online? Have we any requests online at the moment? None yet. Okay, so in the absence, let's take the next part of questions now. 4. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so we'll roll with it. 3. Anyone from this end? Okay, 4. 4 over then. So let's start with Mr. Idowu.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, Father, for the... Okay. Sir, I think my next question is,
Please tell us your name also, so that we can...
Bukola Idowu, again, from Kimpa Development Initiative. What I am so particular about is the voter turnout. And it's been worrying, seeing it going down almost every election year. However, INEC has been doing a lot, most especially sensitization towards the election. But what I would just advise, what I would just suggest is that maybe, like you have promised, it should start early. But that is not my question. I discovered that in 2018, we have 47,874 invalid votes in an election in a state. At the same time, we have 6,192 people that did not drop their ballot paper. That is the difference between accredited voter and the vote cast. So, I keep wondering, if we are running simultaneous accreditation at the same time, is it that these people just accredit, get the ballot paper, and turn back and go home? 6,000 of them. So the concern now, well, anyway, let's even leave that one. Probably that can be corrected with positioning of our ballot boxes, and also understand that the political class, too, intimidate them. Some of them have collected money, so intimidate them. So instead of dropping it, so they can do whatever they want. But this cancelled vote what do we do? Do we need to keep sensitizing the people? What is INEC going to do about this? Do we have specimen ballot paper ahead of time so that people can know how to really vote? Because that number is huge. In fact, at the national level, it's over 1 million. And that is to tell you, over 1 million people go out to vote, and their votes were not reckoned with because, of course, a lot of version. Second to the last question, sir, is this ideal of beavers. We have been engaging in election, though I don't really advocate for electronic voting. It's going to cause a lot of harm than good. However, sir, Anambra, we are in Anambra, we saw what beavers did. FCT that went away, we saw what beavers did. Though you said the press people shine their eyes on that. However, those of us that monitor those two elections notice beavers can just mess the whole process up at some point in time. In fact, it got so worse in Anambra that on the day of election, they have to start recalibrating that beavers. So, sir, do we have an assurance that these beavers will not work the same way it worked in Anambra and FCT in Osun? That is, because this is very, very key. And lastly, how many PVC do we have now uncollected so that we can also begin to push for collection? Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you. Semi Adabanija from South Africa. A clarification. I know some people may want to register for his online for the CVR that is going right now. Can CSOs or individuals help register people en masse online, and they won't be running foul of any law. It's just a clarification, because I've seen that, okay, there are some parties that have been doing that as well. While some have the opinion that what they are doing is right, some feel that what they are doing is wrong. I think that CSOs can also want to do that to help people who are not internet savvy to ease their registration. So I just needed that clarification. And I think when you were also making your presentation, you talked about having a link where we can access the new polling units. I don't know, maybe I missed that before you ended your presentation. If that link is still available, so that the one for the new polling units. Oh, okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Festus Ojewumi is my name, from JDPMC Osogbo. Actually, the first thing I want to say is the dilemma of our country. INEC is actually going technologically. They are being advanced for technological people who are not ready to vote. You just said it that you are spending a lot. How are we going to actually bring these people on board? Because we just saw it now that elites are not voting, and we're talking about technology. So how do we actually reconcile that? That's one. Two, putting technology aside, how can we ensure that these people understand their nearest polling units, especially at the grassroots? You talk about the online, fine. Is there any manual, so to say, manual thing that one can look at and say, okay, this is the closest polling booth to me, then let me change my card? And lastly, about the electoral process we've been talking about, we've not talked about it, and it has actually about the decline of assents. If the president signs tomorrow, does that mean the new electoral law will actually be used for Osun election? Thank you.
Kumilola Adegoke for Catholic newspaper. I want to know if there's any provision for Nigerians outside the country to vote online.
Okay. Good afternoon. Standing on existing protocol, my name is Emmanuel Adebayo from King Park Development Initiative. I know it takes a lot for INEC to move materials from one point to the other, and this is in relation with the NURTW. And with little that I've seen, there are pointers that makes it look as if, I don't want to use it just straight like that, that there is a kind of partisan stuff. They are taking sides. What is INEC doing to clear the air in that regard? Because these materials that they will be handling, they are sensitive materials that will be taken from one point to the other. That's part one. Part two is that peradventure, if anyone from NURTW or anyone assigned to such assignment, peradventure the person does not do it right, commits an offense, or how do I put this? Just mess up with the process. Is there any provision in your agreement with them? Or is there any law that states that this is the punishment for messing up the process, or in the term of reference? And if there is, I will advise that it is made known to the public. The public should know some of these things so that they can challenge sometimes some of these things when they are being done wrong. Thank you.
Mr. Dabanija, the prof will need to tell us your first question again.
Internet service. You got that?
Well, thank you very much. First of all, the voters' turnout is going down, so what can we do? The invalid votes, this, that, and whatever. Well, I think when I was speaking, I made mention of that we need your assistance. We are doing our best at sensitization, this, that, and whatever, but maybe our best is not the best. That's why we are seeking assistance from other stakeholders to also assist. The voters' turnout reduced from 59% in the 90s down to 35 of recent. So, but one of the factors is what we are just realizing now. Elites are not voting. That's a new finding that we have just gotten now. The people in the rural areas are voting. If you look at the population of Osun State, you find out that in the urban areas, we have 60% of the population. The rural areas have like 40%. So if we have been cognizant of this over a very long time, maybe we will have. So we are taking steps on that now. The dichotomy between the rural, the urban, the elite, the middle class, and the low class. So we will be working on that. But one of the major things is also that people don't have that confidence and trust in the electoral management system. But with what we are operating now, with the use of technology, that is becoming a thing of the past. A lot of people now are beginning to develop that confidence and trust. Okay? I told you all our resources are online now. So the era of the finished result here, the result sheet didn't get to the collation center. It's out of the way now. So all of us will have to work together to ensure that we reduce the voter apathy. Then the specimen ballot paper. We always release the specimen ballot paper 1 week or 2 weeks to the election. But what we do is that we don't tell you all the features. So if we are going to use green, we will print it in yellow. Are you getting the point now? If the margin will be green, we will use yellow in the specimen. But the logo of all the parties will still be the same. So that we don't want a situation where people will go and print their own. But what we are doing in the specimen is for you to know the arrangement and the spaces available. Not the exact thing that we are going to bring in terms of color, in terms of the type of paper, in terms of, so we don't reveal that one. But what caused the invalid votes? Yes. In 2018 and 2019, even though it reduced from that 2018, it reduced considerably in 2019. The reason being that 91 political parties. How do we manage the space? And people don't want a 6-page ballot paper. Are you getting the point now? So we have to squeeze. My thumb, if it's not the biggest here, is one of the, you see, I have a big thumb. So if I'm not careful, somebody who has a Parkinson's disease, by the time you want to thumb print, it will spread onto the next one. That's an invalid vote. That was what happened then. So the only option such a person has is just to do it using the tip of the finger. Many people were not aware. They were just, thumb printing like that and were having invalid vote. A number of people too did not know that immediately you thumb printed, you are not supposed to fold the paper. If you fold immediately, you have to wait for about 30 seconds to allow that ink to dry. So if you fold, it will again go and print the one at the opposite side, and that will invalidate the vote. But in 2019, we use indelible ink that dries very fast. So the number of invalid votes actually reduced considerably. So with awareness, that was reducing. Up till today, we haven't been able to iron out what was responsible for those missed, or how do we normally call it, ballot papers. That's 10 people will collect ballot papers. At the end of the day, when we want to count, we will find only 8 in the ballot boxes. We don't know up to today how that was happening. We will just see people, they will come, collect ballot papers, go to the cubicle, come back, drop something, and go away. And yet, we will count, the papers will not be enough. So, maybe some people were just dropping it in their pocket and then they will walk away. But like you are saying, I don't know. But there are a lot of issues that are not yet seriously open to us on that. But that has also reduced considerably. It has also reduced. Then, Anambra with the glitches. Let us first of all thank God that Anambra election took place. Nobody can be under that condition and you expect things to be perfect. I told you even when I observed the FCT election, where there was no panicking or whatever, our ad hoc staff could not handle, some of them could not handle the beavers, effectively. Talk left, do rest. People were panicking. Nobody ever. Most of the recs and the national commissioners that went to Anambra to monitor elections, no single one of them stayed in an hotel for 2 days. They were changing hotels. Are you getting the point now? So these were the kind of, but Anambra 2, that's what we call it. We had Anambra 1, Anambra 2. You went to Anambra, and you remember Anambra 1, Anambra 2. But in Anambra 2, was the beavers failing? It was not failing. Ihiala was almost 90-something% performance. Because by that time, tension has reduced. Tension had reduced by then. So that was actually what happened there. So in fact, I, after that, got convinced that handling is one of the major problems that we are having. Did you know that in Anambra, how many, I think, is it 196,000 people that applied to be ad hoc? Only 20-something thousand showed up. They had to be deploying our staff to go and replace them. People did not turn up. We even recorded cases of parents coming to withdraw their children on the election day. No, you can't be a presiding officer. No way. So, these are some of the problems that we are facing. PVC that is that are uncollected now, about 230,000 plus in the Osun State. 230,000. Can registration be done en masse? Yes or no? I won't answer yes. If I say yes, that means I'm approving it. Each person is supposed to come to do his registration. But if you want to assist people, do it your own way. As far as INEC is concerned, we expect each person to do his own registration. But we are also cognizant of the fact that some people cannot even handle these IT facilities that we are using. Definitely they will need assistance. But it's not for me to say, in fact, ever since we have been doing sensitization campaign on registration, have you ever heard us saying, go to the cyber cafe? We never mentioned it. We just said, do it online. Once I say they can go and do it in the cyber cafe, one political party will come, they say they have designated cyber cafe where they ask people to go. Do you get the point now? So, I had to answer the PWD question the way I answered it because I know we want to operate an inclusive system So please let us know. We will assist people who are in the special schools. That one is, but I will not tell you that I will assist people at Osogbo Grammar School. Let them come on their own. Do you get the point now? Special school, I can say that. So that if you are going to talk, tell everybody that Rex said he will assist special school. They will say, why should they not be assisted? So, well, people who are advanced are not voting. We've discovered that. We are working on that. Assist us also. How do we get to know the nearest PUs? I've said we have that portal where you can check it. We are going to put signages. We are going to have infographics. We are going to have jingles. From today on, we will start all these processes. So that even when you are passing, you will know there is a polling unit here. That is the website for the polling units, the first one, to check your polling unit. You can try it now. It depends on the timing of the assent of the president. It is the timing that will determine whether we will apply the new Electoral Act or not. When it is passed to law. If it is very close to Osun election, we are not going to use it. We will not reckon with it. Just like it happened in 2015. If it's not close, we may. Don't ask me for how many months is the closeness. The electioneering processes in Osun State started on the 15th of this month when we pronounced the notice of election. On the 16th, the primaries started. We have started. If the assent comes and we feel, oh, the other processes, we can capture them under the new bill, fine. If we feel the timing is not appropriate, we won't go into confusion. So, we have precedent. Diaspora voting online, not yet. It has not been passed to law. So not yet. There is no shortcut to it. But we have people that have been registering from outside the country. But they will still have to come and vote in Nigeria. Materials movement, in fact, if you know about the way we move sensitive materials, nobody can actually accuse us that we are partisan. Sensitive materials will arrive at the central bank, will be kept in their vault, and any day we are going there to collect the materials, all party agents, all the parties must send their agents there. And as we are moving out of the central bank, the party agents must follow each vehicle up to the local government, where there must be party agents there also. And all these party agents are registered. So if you complain, we will ask you, were you represented? If you say you are not represented, why did you not send representative? So there is nothing like partisan whatever in it. And from the local government, it moves to the RAC centers. I've explained what a RAC center is. At the RAC centers, party agents are also expected there. And they are supposed to register ahead. And they are given tags for recognition. So they are represented. And as the materials are also moving from the RAC centers to the polling unit, we expect that we will meet the party agents at the polling unit. Those ones at the RAC centers can also accompany the materials up to the polling unit. All these movements were with security agents. All movements with security. We don't remove sensitive materials without security escorts. So for the NURTW, any punitive measures, I've told you that anything that has to do with electoral offense, we hand over those people to the security, and we answer after we have written our report, because we are not prosecutors. We are just like you to report anybody. We are not supposed to punish anybody, but we can be joined in the suit so that we will present our report as evidence to support the claims. That's what we do. And the media will carry it and whatever. So we do that also for the NURTW. It's in our MOU. There are punitive measures for each step of whatever. But in most cases, they don't fail us because our MOU states that we pay them half before the exercise. At the end of the exercise, we pay the remaining half. And you know our commercial vehicle, whatever, that money means so much to them. So they don't want to lose the half. So most of the time, they don't misbehave. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Honorable Resident Electoral Commissioner. I'm sure we'll find it very engaging, and it will help those of us on this side and for the election management body also on this side. Well, a round of applause once again for Prof. Thank you very much, sir. And we'd like to say big thanks also to the JDPMC for these kind of programs and platforms. We thank you so much. Thank you once again for being a part of the program. We're well beyond our time, but I know that it's been really engaging and really fruitful. Thank you very much.
So on behalf of the management of the organization, first of all, I want to say a very big thank you to the Resident Electoral Commissioner. I love one thing about the way he has conducted the whole exercise today, and it's the fact that he felt so free among us, he freed himself among us. He did not make us feel the dichotomy that this is INEC, these are the CSOs, except anyone who looks at the tag in front of everyone. It was very engaging. It's a kind of dialogue. These are the kind of things we hope to see maybe when our politicians are going for town hall. So I really want to thank also all the members of the CSOs who are here today. You know, we had an engagement with the REC last week, and it was very, very fruitful and engaging. But we were convinced that more CSOs are doing other things that we are not doing. They are experiencing what we do not experience, and that's why we felt if we come together, our questions and answers, our contributions will be more robust so that there will be a more holistic understanding of the situation, and there will be a more clarification. Light will be thrown on what needs that to be done with in order to make sure we progress well as we prepare for elections. So we wish the REC, we wish the team of INEC all the best as we prepare ahead for the elections. We wish all of us, the civil society organizations, all the best in all our plans and in all our engagement. We pray that the security situation will continue to support what we all plan and intend to undertake for the success of the elections. Gentlemen of the media, we thank you for coming around. And as we all go back, we wish all of us safety back to our various destinations. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, the General Coordinator, for the vote of thanks. On our agenda, we can see the next is group photograph, but to maintain orderliness, we would like to finish everything we have to do here. So as we step out, we take the photograph and we can depart for our various offices and destinations. So while the refreshment is going on, I would like one person among us to, okay. Before I forget, I would like to acknowledge the presence of the Social Communications Department of the Diocese among us, and they are ably represented here by Reverend Tony Akinlawon. You are welcome. And Mrs. Kumi Adegoke. You are appreciated too. Thank you. So I invite someone among us to please give us the closing prayer in a Muslim way this time around. I remember we started in the Christian way, so let us end it in the Muslim way. Thank you.
A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. In the name of Almighty Allah, we thank you for being with us since the beginning to the end, as we have taken decisions for the betterment of Osun State and Nigeria at large. We pray that the forthcoming elections is a successful one. We pray for each free exercise. By the grace of God, we will not be a casualty to any security threat. And at the end of everything, we will have focused to bless the name of Almighty Allah. Bismillah Fatiha. Bismillah Rahman Rahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahman Rahim. Maliki Yawmiddin. Iyaka na'budu wa iyaka nasta'in. Ihdina as-siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladina an'amta alayhim. Ghayril maghdubi alayhim waladdallin. Amin. 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 Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun. Wa salamun ala al-mursalin. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Sallu ala nabiyyil karim.
Thank you very much for the closing prayer. So I can officially tell us that we have come to the end of this roundtable session. And so we can proceed to have our group photograph out there. Thank you very much.